Good afternoon, Americans. This is your favorite alien on the afternoon of Wednesday, September 6th, 2023. Stand by for special commentary. Well, the special commentary is on the disagreement that Disney and Charter Communications are having. And 15 million of you, I would call suckers, are growling about this. Okay? Yeah. Well, you don't subscribe to ESPN Plus? Yeah. Those ESPN people? Yeah. Those ABC people? I mean, I got Spectrum here, and the local ABC station's still here, so I don't know what they're growling about ABC. They didn't take the ABC off. But they did take FX. Well, I don't watch FX, but anyway, they took that one off. And the ESPN, whatever the channels were there, they took that off. Heck. But, you still get Fox and FS1 and FS2, you're still around. And TBS, I mean, you get games on that, baseball games especially, and football games galore this weekend. Sure, you don't have the ones on ESPN. Yeah. But the problem with Charter and Disney reminds me of a song way back in the early 1960s. It was Constantinople, now it's Istanbul, by the Four Lads. Wow. And like the Four Lads said, why did Constantinople get the works? And they said, that's nobody's business but the Turks. And then they also said, our old New York was once New Amsterdam. Why did they change? Maybe they said it was better that way. Yeah. And that's exactly what's happening here with Charter and Disney. Oh, and by the way, Istanbul, formerly Constantinople, and before that it was Byzantium, hence Byzantine Empire. Yeah, Byzantium. And this is the problem that you have between Charter and Disney. Just what they had between Byzantium, Constantinople, and Istanbul, which is nobody's business but the Turks. And the problem is, almost 100 years ago, coming up, 85 or so years ago, 1946, I believe it was, when television stations were coming into vogue, 46, 47, there was a few of them. By 1948, you had NBC, ABC, and CBS. And you remember, they came from the radio. You had NBC, National Broadcasting Corporation, CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System. NBC had red and blue, and the blue became the American Broadcasting Company. Yes. And there was a government-issued decree with all three of those companies that said Americans are going to get their television programs free through the air. All they need to do is get themselves an antenna. Remember those? Yeah. And you are going to supplement your programs, and the bitter pill that the American people have to swallow, commercials. So that way you get your bills paid. to ABC, NBC, and CBS. And each of the programs that you had, Father Knows Best, The Shadow Knows, yeah, and had their own sponsor, i.e. commercials. So, you had an advertisement coming up. Well, we have to, we got 1 hour for this one, 45 minutes and 15 minutes of commercial, so we have to pay our bills. Yeah, okay. And grudgingly, the American public was okay with that. And then came what you called soap operas today. And why is it called soap operas? Because soap sponsored those programs. Procter & Gamble, with their products that they had, and other soap companies, so it became soap operas. And then you had sports that started to be pretty good in the late 50s and 60s. And therefore you had Pepsi and Coca-Cola got into the thing there. And before you know it, you had more commercials than anything else. And your program started to get terrible because you didn't have that much programming anymore, but you had more commercials and programs. Remember that, Americans? And in the 1980s, here, it was supposed to be cable. We have HBO, we have Cinemax, and we have Showtime. And we promise you no commercials, it's free, but you pay a premium for having these channels. And we have these cable companies that are going to be getting our signals from our satellite, and they're going to be distributing it to you at so-called premium for that. But they're going to put your regular channels on there, and you're going to pay them a premium for that. And then you're going to pay us an additional $10 or $12 a month for HBO. If you want it, you pay $10, $12, or $20, I think it was to start with. Yeah. And don't forget that those programs, they weren't 24/7 for a while. They started between 5 o'clock in the afternoon and 11, and that was it. And you're paying a high price back in the 70s and 60s and 80s. But you still had commercials that came on the other channels that you had. TBS, TNT, when CNN came in, Turner Broadcasting Systems, they had their own channels and they had commercials too. So not only are you paying that, and you're paying more now. Your TV's not free anymore because your local channels that you used to get for free because of the advertising, you're paying for them, and you're paying extra for the other channels, the HBO, that, and you were averaging, eventually $160 a month. Yeah. And that kept on going on through the 1980s, 1990s. And by 2000, this is not going too good. HBO lost its luster. Cinemax had lost its luster. CNN had lost its luster. TBS, they used to carry the Braves. Remember that? Yeah, the Braves went on to local channels to get them on their local sports companies to televise. They weren't televised on TBS anymore. And some of those channels you had to pay extra. Then you had the National Football League and the Major League Baseball, which you had to pay premium channels for them too. So ESPN came into vogue, and the price went up because you had to pay for the broadcast fees to ESPN. And here we are, no matter if you're Xfinity from Comcast or Charter Communications, i.e. Spectrum, you're paying for commercials that you gotta be forced to watch, and you're paying cable fees for these other stations that come in with your basic channel that you really don't want, but you're going to have to anyhow pay for them. And then they offered you that you have to pay broadcast fees of $22 and above on top of that extra. So you're paying your cable bill plus $22 fees and taxes. And that's not taxes and fees. That is broadcast fees that goes to the different Disney company and the other Warner companies and stuff like that. CNN probably gets some, there because, hey, they put their programs on the cable channel. Yeah. And they still advertise commercials. Yo-ho. And now you got streaming. In my case, on my TV, I got a TV that I can get Plex and Pluto. Even Roku is free on some of the stuff. I don't have to pay for the programming that they want a lot of money for. But if I wanted to watch Star Trek, I have to pay for streaming under Paramount Plus. Is that really worth it, people? Streaming? Come on. I've seen streaming. It's not worth it to me. I love Star Trek, but I'm not going to pay for Star Trek. I'll wait, and it'll come in like this month here. It had to come into CBS because on the 8th, because CBS doesn't have any programming because the people are on strike, see? And the local television companies, ABC, CBS, and NBC, don't have much programming to show because of the strike. So they're going to have to go through the streaming program that they have already there. But what happens when that's done and the strike is not over? So you see, Americans, the shoe's on the other foot. You should tell both Disney and Charter what you want. Do you want to eliminate regular television and forget about cable companies and just stream these and forget about the ABC, CBS, and NBC channels and TBS and TNT and all the other channels that you got there, ESPN, that, and just stream them and have the Big Ten, the SEC, the National Football League, and the Major League Baseball channels. Yeah. What do you say? The question is up to you. And like the guys in the Four Lads with Constantinople, now it's Istanbul, said, it's nobody's business but the Turks. And here I tell both Charter and Disney, this is nobody's business but the American viewers. They're the ones that should tell you what they want. Do they want to eliminate television or what they want? But they're too pussyfooting and chicken to tell you because they're the ones that are paying the money. Not you guys. This is your favorite alien. Good day.